What's up, dudes, lady dudes? Welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today we're doing kind of a continuation on a video I did a couple days ago where when we only had 10 of the 20 monsters for Link VRAINS Pack 2 kind of announced and known to us. I did a little video comparing like what we had so far, what we knew so far, comparing it to what we got all together in Link VRAINS Pack 1, and this is going to be a continuation of that video because if you didn't hear, we got all the rest, all the last 10 in like 2 days. So I have videos on all those new monsters, so you can check those out, but assuming you've seen that and you know what we have now, I want to go back and I wanted to compare the two because the two are very, very different in terms of like the power levels of these cards altogether. So let us jump into this real quick, and I'm gonna go back and forth and I'm gonna compare because I made these little visuals. I'm showing you, hopefully you can tell what every card is here. Like this is the Link VRAINS Pack 1 and these are the tiers I made myself. So I developed my own little tiering system for comparing these. It's a 5-tier system. It doesn't work how you'd think though. Like 3 is an average, 3 is like above average. So like the way I did it was like tier 2 is like average, like super kind of like meh. Tier 1 is like bad. Tier 1 is just bad cards. Tier 3 is like above average, like pretty good. Tier 4 is like good cards, really good cards. And Tier 5 is like broken, like clearly broken cards. So that's the way I broke these up for this video. So just keep that in mind, that that's the way I'm ranking these. And also keep in mind that these rankings are definitely subjective to a point. So I think for the most part, all these monsters should be pretty much put in slots that you would probably put them. There may be a couple that maybe you'd move up or down, but like just consider this like an average as far as like just consider that for the most part. Maybe there'll be a couple differences, but for the most part should be right relatively close to what you would have them ranked as well. So looking at Link VRAINS Pack 1, it's pretty balanced, I'd say, overall, but balanced in like the wrong way, I'd say. Like they're balanced in that we have like 6 monsters in tier 3 and then 7 on each side, right? 7 in between tiers 4 and 5 and 7 in tiers 1 and 2. Honestly, if they're doing Link VRAINS Pack 1 or doing a Link VRAINS Pack period, why should they ever have anything that would fit into tier 1? Because why just make these bad cards? Like you're supposed to be giving these archetypes support that helps them play in 2018. But you give them bad cards so that like these don't do anything for their archetypes, literally nothing. So I don't get that at all. So that doesn't make sense to me, period. So that's like a criticism I have. And then we look, it's like super top heavy because we see 4 monsters in tier 5, and obviously maybe some of these can move down, but I think for the most part, like I think we can all agree that like I sold, Needle Fiber, Electromite, and Cherubini are all pretty much tier 5. They're all broken. They're all so incredibly strong, especially because they're so generic. They made them easy to make in decks that aren't their decks. So that's like the problem. That's why they end up in tier 5, is because they can be abusable in decks that weren't designed to abuse them in the first place. And then tier 4, these are kind of the monsters that like have restrictions otherwise, depending on like the archetype or whatever. But yeah, I think this is a pretty like even, I don't know, pretty even breakdown, I guess. Like it's pretty balanced. I would say it's a little top heavy, and if they make this, they shouldn't have anything in tier 1, honestly. Like tier 3 should be like the biggest one always. You should have always like pretty good cards, because nobody's going to complain about that. Like if it's an archetype somebody loves and they get a pretty good Link monster, they'll be like, yeah, like maybe I wish it was like a really, really good card, but like it's pretty good. I can't complain. I got a better card. My deck's better than it was now, or than it was before. So I don't know. There should just be a ton in tier 3, and that's what we ended up getting in Link VRAINS Pack 2. Spoiler, I brought up the little visual here. So Link VRAINS Pack 2 is like very different in that like right off the bat, you probably look at tier 5 here down in the corner. We literally got like nothing that I would consider tier 5. Like that broken. Nothing on the level of the 4. Nothing on the level of Cherubini, on the level of Electromite, Needle Fiber, or Isolt. I don't think we got any monsters on those levels. But I think we got some good ones. Like obviously in the last one we only had, I believe, 3 slots for tier 3. Yeah, we only had 3 monster tier 3. We do have 4 now. That's a bump there, but I would have liked it to be a little higher if we had nothing. Because when you look at what's Oh, whoa. All right, when you look at what's above tier 4 or above tier 3, we have 7 total. And then we go over here, we have more in tier 4, but as far as being above tier 3, we only have 4 total compared to 7 before. And I would have liked to have more like really good cards. I can't complain because I said I wanted a bigger tier 3, and we got a bigger tier 3. Half the cards fit for me into tier 3. Going like this, hopefully you can see everything and know what's what. I mean, and some of these, maybe you'd argue, at first I almost had the Scrap and the Raid Raptor monster both in tier 3, but then like after thinking about it and then learning more, I didn't actually know a ton about the decks. And then when I learned more about the decks, those cards are really strong. I mean, Raid Raptor is almost like a Needle Fiber-esque card specific to Raid Raptors, and that's why obviously I can't put it in tier 5 because it's not generic like Needle Fiber is. But as far as for Raid Raptors go, it pretty much serves the same purpose that Needle Fiber serves in other decks. So it goes down a tier because it's only usable in Raid Raptors, so it is confined like that, but it is still almost just as powerful a card. So I love it. So tier 4 for sure. The BLS is just really generic and can like win games by itself, and it's not a Link 4. We see monsters this powerful be Link 4s, and this one's only in Link 3, which really is really good. So I love that. Scrap Dragon is kind of like Raid Raptor. I didn't know what it did. I checked it out, and I learned that it actually can help get scraps going like pretty well, and scraps may be able to do some regional tops. Same thing with Raid Raptors. I've heard that Raid Raptors are definitely going to be looking to spice up the game with some regional tops. If we see a YCS top, I will explode with happiness. I would love that so much. And then you have the 6 Samurai there. That one obviously broken Searching Gateway up to 6. So good. But overall, it's like, I think, so the question is, what happened here? Did Konami come into this and they were like, okay, we went ham in Link VRAINS Pack 1, and Link VRAINS Pack 2, we should like maybe pull it back a little bit. Or did they do it out of fear, or did they do it out of like a plan, right? That's the question. Like, when they released Link VRAINS Pack 1, did they know these 4 monsters, like the tier 5ers, were going to be so broken and impact the game the way they did? We've seen in the OCG, we're still missing 2 of them in the TC because I think Konami's still scared to drop them here because of what'll happen to the metagame. But like, is that what happened? Did they release these? I didn't think they'd be as good as they were. They did end up being broken, and now they're just like, ah, shit. We gotta reel it back. If we don't reel it back, like, we're gonna get the same result. We're gonna get 5 more. We're gonna end up with 4 or 5 more completely broken cards, and the game's going to be like completely flipped on its head for the worse. And I like this. I like this overall. I think what happened was they reeled back, no broken cards. We have some very, very good cards. I think the 6 Samurai one is probably the closest thing to being broken because there is like infinite loops with like red and blue from 6 Samurai, those 2 monsters, to generate infinite counters and get literally 10,000 attack points or whatever and just kill your opponent one attack. So there are some broken aspects of him, but we don't know what they're going to do. Like, if they release him, they might like ban Rongo Miniad to make that an undoable combo, because I know that's like literally a super easy like 1-card combo to just make like him and Rongo Miniad with like 6 materials, and you just win that duel, like right there, you just win. So I don't know if they hit him because he's just like an unfair win condition. But I don't know. I think this is good for the better. I mean, I think a lot of these like monsters do their archetypes very much justice. I mean, we see like we have some Link 1s, some powerful Link 1s with the Trap Tricks and the Magical Musketeer monster. That really like give you good ceiling for like your normal summon, what you get out of just your normal summon, but also they don't like, that's what they needed. They don't propel the deck immediately into meta relevance, but they get them closer, much closer. Like, honestly, I really want to build both of those decks now because of like the ability to plus with them. I mean, just like advantage generation is like skyrocketed in those decks now. And that's what you had to do. Like, the reason like we see like the Brotherhood of Fire Fist card down here, and I guess the Alien one down in tier 2, is because those are decks that don't really spam the board. So like even making a Link 2 turn 1 is like actually hard. Like Fire Fist mostly just normal summon. So like you normal summon a Fire Fist and that's it. like you don't have another monster. A lot of times you don't have another monster to summon that turn, and so a lot of times you can't even make him. And his effect works if you have like his like best effect is if you have another Fire Fist on board. Like I couldn't even get him on the board in turn 1, let alone I need him and another Fire Fist. That's rough. So like you see why he's in tier 2. But overall, I think this is the best way to go. Like, just a lot of like solid support, not broken support that's generic and can be abused by things that are not intended by it. You need to focus it. A lot of these monsters are specifically like focused to their archetype. Like the only like generic ones. So what are like the generic ones? Like the really generic ones. The only generic ones are like the PK monster, but we already have that. Like that's not a problem here at all. The Psi-Frame Lambda and the BLS but the Lambda is really cool. I think the Lambda gives value to like the Psi-Frame geared hand traps where they can be live even if you control a monster with his effect, which is really, really cool because I think people shy away from cards. They have like, because those hand traps have really high ceilings, but also like after turn 1, like they just like are unusable because you have monster on the field like for probably the whole duel. So like they're just unusable after that. But this makes them usable whenever, as long as you have him on the field. So that's really cool, and he's really generic. And then the BLS is just like a win condition. He's like an OTK pusher, a get over a big monster. So just cool overall. I don't know. I think overall this is the way these should go. I'm really hoping for future Link VRAINS packs. I mean, listen, we have so many archetypes that could use support that no matter what, like, this is the world. Like, no matter what archetype they choose to support, somebody's going to be happy about it. There's going to be a group of people that are stoked. Even if it's that archetype where you're just like, really? They gave that archetype support? Like, who likes them? There's people who like them. I guarantee it. Like, I'm a Blackwing fan, and I don't really like Raid Raptors. So when I got the Raid Raptor link, I was like, really? Like, I don't know anybody who likes Raid Raptors. But apparently there's actually a decent following for Raid Raptors. A lot of people like them a lot. I just personally prefer Blackwings. But, to each their own. I don't know. Overall, this is the way this should be, and I hope we get at least one more Link VRAINS pack. It seems like we're doing one a year, because right, didn't they announce the other one around like a late 2017? So like literally a year ago. So if we get one a year, that'd be pretty cool. I mean, we're not getting it. The OCG's getting it, but we'll get a decent amount of these imported during the year. I'm assuming. I hope so. And yeah, I mean, this is the way. Not brokenness. We don't need more broken cards in this game. We need more good cards. We need a bunch of like good decks. Not two or three broken decks and a bunch of good decks that just can't compete with those broken decks. So let me know what you guys think about this topic overall. Let me know if you prefer the Link VRAINS Pack 1 style of getting 4 or 5 broken cards and then a bunch of like not as good cards, or do you prefer this where it's much more balanced? You get a ton of like level tier 3 like solid cards, a couple really good cards, a couple of average cards, and then 2 bad cards. But what are you gonna do? It's Konami. They're always gonna give us some bad cards. You can't have all winners. So let me know which one you prefer, and if you like this video, subscribe for more Yu-Gi-Oh discussions in the future, like theories, discussions about the future and where the card game's at. And because I'm more than willing to do them. I love talking about this stuff. I love like the theory and just kind of contemplating, thinking about this stuff. So let me know down below, and yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace out.